Special guest in conversation. I have to read this out, actually, because it's very important that he's an actor. He's a stage actor. He's a producer. He's a voice artist. He's a director. Might have done a bit of comedy. He tells a very, very good story. In fact, as people said, when you read his A Life in Parts, you will think to yourself, he tells very good stories. His childhood was unconventional, to say the least. He never stops working, and this building was a light when they said, "Who are you talking to?" And I went, "I'm talking to Bryan Cranston." They went, "No, everybody loves you."
Oh, that's
Isn't
lovely
that nice?
to hear. Thank you, Steve. How are you?
I think I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
It's so pleasing for actors nowadays to get roles that they can get their teeth into, but you get all sorts of roles. I mean, you just don't stop working. You obviously love the ethic.
I love to work. I love it. It's very empowering to be an actor, to have a relationship on stage with an audience that's a kind of an ebb and flow to it. And then film work has a different sort of intimacy to it. And so I love going back and forth to the different mediums, comedies, dramas. I just love storytelling.
And you tell story. You tell very good story in the book.
Thank you.
I mean, seriously, as I was going through, I thought, I've got all these key words: eggs, chickens. I'm sort of going through it because everything that featured prostitute and all sorts of different bits and pieces. And then I watched interviews that you've done with Ellen, and all your interviews are very good natured. That you obviously, it's sometimes actors can get a dreadful reputation because they don't want to have to go and justify what they do for a living. But you've been doing it since you were little because your daddy did it.
Yeah, he was an actor. He met my mother in an acting class in Hollywood back in the late 40s, early 50s, and they had a fast and furious romance and then got married and had children. And he was an actor and led the typical actor's life, where it was like, oh, no, a couple good things and several bad things. And, it just up and down and up and down. But my father was very determined to become a star. And I think that's why he burned out. He got to a point where at 40, a midlife crisis of epic proportion, he left the family. And I didn't see him from the time I was 12 to 22. It was traumatic, and it broke my mother's heart. She began drinking, and then heavily, and so there wasn't really any parental guidance, any support in that area. So I think I started to grow up a little too fast and not having the maturity to be able to reconcile what was going on in my life. But you look back and you go, well, those are the cards I was dealt, and just play them.
Just get on with it.
Get on with it. Try to do your best.
Because you don't have any choice as a child. If we all look back to our childhood, your parents probably loved you at some point, but then I'm assuming probably they love. But it does. I always think that how you are as a child forms you as an adult. I think that's what sets you up. So whether or not you were loved as a child, or you weren't, or you just got down to it. I mean, you seem to have been working from a phenomenally young age. You obviously just knuckled down and got on with it, and that makes you the person you are now because you're grateful for everything that you've got.
Yes. My goal was to just make a living as an actor. If I could do that, how many people in the world can do that? And storytelling is ingrained in the human experience. It's probably the first memory we have of dragging a book to our parents' lap and having them read the book to us. And whether you're 2 or 102, it's still a part of the human experience. And that's what makes us a lovely race, is that we want to be told a story. We want to be taken away. And a few of us, and I definitely consider myself extremely lucky to be able to be the storytellers as well.
And as I said before, you do tell a good story. Are you Pisces, aren't you?
I am.
You are. I think Pisces is a very emotional side. I'm Piscean as well, and I can get affected by films.
Yeah.
I can be very deeply affected by music. Mm-hmm. I can be affected by so many things, and I think, God, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I think, no, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
It's a very good thing.
Yeah.
And you did it when he was talking about Breaking Bad, and he broke down because there was one particular scene, in fact, which you start the book off with.
Right.
And that rang true with me because I was watching a thing this morning on YouTube, and it was just pipes and drums, but hundreds of them. And it was just overwhelming. It just smothered me. And I thought that's how it was for you because you have a daughter.
Yes.
And so you think about these things. So you're obviously a very careful and considerate actor in that you think about the things that you're doing, and you had to done because Malcolm in the Middle ran for 6 years?
7, yeah.
7 years. And then Breaking Bad?
6 years.
6 years. And in between time you do other things. But Breaking Bad was the one thing I think for everybody went, oh, God, what a role! What a great part! What
the greatest role I'll ever have.
Role ever. Yeah. Well, no, you never. You can't ever think that. There's got to be another one.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm not counting on it.
Really?
Oh no! Because then a level of expectation comes in, or that you feel like something has to improve beyond that. I just take it one thing at a time. I embrace what I have and then let it go, because the most valuable things are those that are ephemeral, and you can't hold on to it. It's experiences. And as I get older, I'm 60 now, I want less and less physical things. I don't want a lot of stuff. I want experiences. Yeah. And so that's what gets me excited.
Could it come back?
Breaking Bad. Well, I don't know.
Because we're not sure
if he's dead.
If he's dead,
I'm pretty sure that he's dead.
You see, because you're the first person. I know you'll be the best person to know. But everybody kept saying to me, "Do you think it could come back?" And I said, "Well, we don't know." I said, "I'm not sure he's dead."
Well, there has been that rumor, but I'm pretty sure he is. And I quite
would you like to bring him back?
No, not really. No.
You think he went as far as he could?
Yeah, I think when you tell a story as well as Vince Gilligan did, that had such an incredible beginning, middle, and end,
right?
It's complete. It's like having a wonderful meal and being satiated and like, oh, that was fantastic, and you're remembering it greatly, and then someone brings you a couple more desserts, and you went, I really don't want, and it kind of ruins. Then you feel I ate too much, and now I don't feel as good. I would rather let it be that people miss the character and remember it fondly.
Yeah, and they do, even though dreadful man, atrocious man. But I think that people like that. I think you have to have roles. I think many actors go through their entire life. It'll be one role that is the one thing that they do that people will always mention. It must be really galling for actors. They go, I've done loads of other things. I've done comedy and I've been in Murder, She Wrote, and I've done all these other things. But people always remember this one thing that you do.
Well, I think I think that's where actors get themselves in trouble. If they're looking beyond, if they're looking at some kind of legacy when they're still working, I think your focus is on the wrong thing. You should be working on what you love to do, and that's tell a story, create a character that's compelling, and be in that moment. And whatever happens or is supposed to happen with that, with the production, or if it's a movie or a play, is going to happen. I don't look at something like, I'm going to do this play in order to be nominated for a Tony or Olivier or whatever the case is. You do the play because you enjoy the empowerment of storytelling. That's it.
The awards, I always think, are a bonus. I spent 2 years on the Laurence Olivier committee, going out there and finding it incredibly difficult. Not because we were seeing a lot of productions in the West End, but because you were looking at so many different talents in so many different pieces and trying to separate them and decide which was a better acting role, who was giving it the most. The most that you could add to it. I watched Miss Saigon the other day. There's a new version out, which they've changed some of the songs.
Oh, really?
And they did it live. They recorded it in the theatre and put it out at cinemas. And the man who plays the engineer, Jonathan Pryce, I first saw.
Did it, right.
And he was the definitive guide. This new guy I've just watched brought a completely new dimension to it. And I thought, if I'd been judging, I'd have had to go, that's an award-winning performance. That was absolutely fantastic. But when you sit there for 2 years watching lots and lots of plays, because you're in the business, you probably don't get the chance to go out and see things.
Well, we do. We go. We're invited to premieres and things like that, where you get an opportunity to then also see friends who are either in that production or attending, and that's basically the extent of our social life. Really,
it's in the business.
It's in the business. Yeah.
Is it funny because you can't switch off? Then can you? It's like being permanently on, because not only do you love the work, but your agent, who obviously has a clause in to get you naked in as many things as possible.
Right.
I mean, seriously.
Well, I had a terrible agent before, and my nudity clause was supposed to protect me.
Yeah.
But they interpreted it that I'm supposed to be nude in things, and it's like, oh,
if it's Bryan. Naked in, I think
yes,
naked in that one.
Let's get that one.
It's unbelievable. I was watching the interview with Ellen, and she was talking about it. She seemed as surprised as I did. There was so much. But that's what, people make more demands on actors. I think in the early days, probably in the days of your parents, acting was completely different. Completely different.
Yeah, I think audiences are much more sophisticated now. There's far more avenues to grab attention, so it raises the need to have storytelling really be compelling,
yes.
because you can lose them easily. I mean, when we were kids, we didn't have all the tablets and the things, the distractions like that. You were either seeing a play or you were outside,
yes.
With friends or whatever. It was those were your choices.
Yes.
And so they could put out product that wasn't that great because there wasn't a terrific amount of alternative to that.
There wasn't any competition. If you wanted to go to the cinema, and cinema was big.
Yeah.
Cinema was big. People queued around the block to go and see the latest big film, and then films got sophisticated and green screen and blue screen, and sort of you're acting with people who aren't even there.
Yes.
At one point, I think in a film they made over here, they were acting to a hat on a piece of string on the end of a pole.
Like we're cats.
Like cats, absolutely. And then they go, right, this is coming towards you now, and hold
That's
back.
Right. We did that when I did Godzilla, and
Yes.
it was like, there's his head using a laser pointer. Up there's the head. Here's the claw that sweeps down. So you duck. You have to duck in unison. It's odd, but it presents a new challenge for actors.
Yes.
And part of the actor's toolkit is imagination, and you need to engage your imagination to go, okay, we did this when we were children. We pretended that a dragon was chasing us or
we
whatever.
Pretended to be trees.
Yeah, that's
Be
really
a tree. So you
Yes.
stood in the school hall being a tree. I didn't know what sort of tree,
Right.
just a tree. All right, listen, very, very quick break. More A Life in Parts from Bryan Cranston after this. Special guest in conversation. What a thrill to have him in the country. Bryan Cranston, A Life in Parts, is published by Orion. You went from one film to stage. I remember somebody saying to you, why did you do that? Why did you go from film to stage? Because on your bio, it's quite clearly movie actor, stage actor, because it's two different forms of acting. Movie, you can play small and the camera makes it look big. Stage, you've got to exaggerate everything. That was how it was explained to me.
Well, you try not to exaggerate it. You try to just fill it, because you still want to be honest and represent, some dignity to the characters. So it is more of a case of being present on stage and being vocal so that they can hear you in the back row. It's a little different style, but it's wonderful because there is that relationship that you have with an audience, a live audience, that you just can't have in film. And yet, film offers that level of intimacy that is so unique. I like to go back and forth between the mediums, and I intend to do that for as long as they'll let me.
Does that keep you grounded? Because if you're a movie actor, your movies go around the world. If you're a stage actor, you have to achieve the international status with the movies to get stage work in another country.
Oh, I suppose that's true. I don't really think beyond the actual storytelling. I don't think I want to do this movie because I think it's going to be a box office hit, or I want to do this play because I think I might be nominated for. I just really focus on: is this a story that compels me? Does it resonate with me? Is it important? Is the character a part of this discovery? Is it, and so who's directing? Can I trust him or her? And are we on the same wavelength? Are we going to have a collaborative experience?
Right.
That sort of thing.
God, it's quite complicated.
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot
going on because you have to
on.
trust them and the cameraman and lighting and everything else to make sure, because when you're acting on stage, you're with other people, so it's an ensemble piece. When you're doing acting, there might be 3 cameras all looking for different bits of you, and you're hoping that if you do that sort of little aside, one of these cameras is going to capture it, and the director's going to go, that's why I like that.
in many ways, actors just need to stay focused on what they're doing, and then let go of everything else because it's someone else's decision. If you get to a position where you have approval of final cut and that sort of thing in a movie, that's different. But very few people have that. And I don't know that that's a great idea anyway. I think it's, the director really should have that final say.
In the same way that they trust you with the script, you should trust them with what they do. But I can imagine there must be a lot of actors who are going, I mean, I've heard of people, got to have their own, years ago, they had their own lighting director, their own sound man, they had directors they liked working with. It was a different system. I've read the Hollywood books. I'm fascinated by the silver screen and, and how big the stars were, because they were huge, but a lot of it was false. Nowadays, I think we're far more realistic with people. You go out to a premiere, you put your tux on, and you go out there and you do the interviews and you smile graciously and you just hope people like your work. But you've not done it for them. You've really done it for you to make sure that you love the story,
right?
And B, if there's any, some sort of fallback on it, then it comes back to you and they go, "You're fantastic in that, Bryan. That was great." Then you go, "That was nice, thank you."
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, that's primarily why I wrote this book, is because I wanted to be able to be honest with fans and people who are interested in Breaking Bad or Malcolm in the Middle or whatever the case may be. I didn't want it to be, and this was wonderful and that was wonderful and then I did this and then I did that.
Oh, it's not like that.
And,
oh, no, it's not.
No, it's not like that.
No.
I wanted to pull back the curtain and allow fans to say, "Oh, so he had quite a challenging childhood, and so he was insecure at certain points in his life. Oh, he makes mistakes, and he was involved in someone he really shouldn't have been, and kind of like me." So I wanted to let people know that there is that relationship, that we are human. That celebrities often,
not all are human. I have to tell you, I've met some very
some
odd
are
people.
robots.
I've met some very odd ones. So, but who was the person who came to you and said, "I think you should do a book. I think there's a story in you that you should tell," and you go, "Okay," and then the enormity falls on you because your recall is very, very good. I can recall certain things when I was a youngster. Yours is very good indeed.
Well, part of the actor's toolbox is to be able to have that sense of imagination, but also to go back into your own personal history and remember specific moments, being able to identify human behavior and replicate it when you need it. So we're keyed into specificity in that goes back into our lives, and you open up and you present yourself and all who you are in all your characteristics, and that means some of the negative characteristics, the jealousies, the hate, the anger, anything that people don't really want others to see. I wanted to be able to say, well, here it is. Here's what I was feeling.
Warts and all.
Warts and all.
Yeah, but you're very grounded. I mean, I've met a lot of Hollywood actors, some really big names, and I'm always in awe of everybody who comes in, because I always think, gosh, I told you before, everybody said to me, "You're going to love Bryan. You're going to absolutely love Bryan."
Oh, really?
Watch his interview. Oh, seriously. But you know that because you are genuine and nice person. There don't appear to be any airs and graces with you. So, which you do get.
I imagine you have a very humbling beginning, and if you develop a sense of entitlement, I can see where you can fly off the handle and become a person who is a diva, and that you feel that you deserve this kind of lofty attention and you should be on a pedestal, and then I just think it's silly. I mean, I think I tell young actors this: if you really want to establish a long-range plan, get your house in order, get your personal life in order. Because what I have allows me, that's my foundation. What I have, I can go off and be crazy and insane in my work because I know my real life is not insane at all.
Yeah.
It's normal. Very normal. Very normal. And it's like this purposeful, invisible tether to that. And if I fly off a little bit, my wife, can give it a little tug, and what happened? Oh, I'm coming back. Yes.
Yeah.
And we just keep things in check. Make sure.
Is it a business you would recommend to young people?
I would recommend it to anyone who feels they have that burn inside them. That if they have a sensation of, I have to be on stage, I have to be an actor to tell stories, it's my life, then they have to try professionally.
Yeah.
But if you go, I just love to perform, I don't want to, I wouldn't be afraid of it, well then do community theater or something like that. It's still acting. You're still...
Amdram, ladies and gentlemen. Amateur dramatics.
Amdram, is that
Amdram, that's what they call it here,
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you read Hedda Gabler at a very young age, and that was that catalyst that you then said, I want to act.
It was an amazing experience. I was stranded. I was on a motorcycle trip, and my brother and I were driving around, and we came into a huge rainstorm, and we took refuge in a picnic area that had a roof and 4 posts on a slab of cement, and there we stayed for 6 days because it never stopped raining. It was, and fortunately I had a book of plays, and I was reading it. And what really got me is that as I started the book, it was daytime, and when I finished the last page, I was leaning over trying to catch a little bit of light from the only light source in the compound there, and I missed the transition from day to dusk to night, and that's never happened to me. Usually, I mean, if you're tired and you're on jet lag or something and you go to bed in the daytime and you wake up at night, well, there's a reason that you missed it. But being awake in your waking hours, I have never missed that transition from day to night. And it made me stop and think about the transformative power of storytelling and how I longed for it and needed it. And I really made an epiphany. Epiphany came to me at that moment, and I said, okay, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do something that I love and hopefully become good at, as opposed to something I was good at but wasn't in love with.
Yeah.
And that was my determination. At 22 years old, I said, okay, I'm all in.
I love the word epiphany. I use it all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, I use it like an excuse word. I go, I had an epiphany the other day. I think it's fantastic. Your favourite actor, or one of your favourite actors, you've gone on record as saying is Jack Lemmon. What is it about him that you liked so much?
Well, it wasn't just his acting. He went from comedies to dramas. I think I share the same kind of physicality with him, that we're not striking looking, we're not remarkable looking in that sense, that he was able to do a variety of different roles. You look at Clark Gable or and Clark Gable could only do a certain amount of roles. Yes. You know, Cary Grant could not be a plumber. No one
with the best will in the world.
No one would believe this. So he had a narrower scope of available roles to him. Now, what he did was fantastic. Yeah. Same with George Clooney and Brad Pitt.
Yes.
You could see Brad Pitt being like a contractor or something.
Yeah.
But George Clooney is too.
It's going to look ridiculous.
Yeah, it just
He's going to be wearing overalls, dungarees.
I wouldn't buy it.
I wouldn't buy it. I'd buy you.
Well, yeah, you'd buy me.
Yeah, I'd buy you.
And yet I can also be in a suit, and so I can travel a little more. I have a little larger scope of available roles that I could play because of my look. But also Jack Lemmon had a sensibility that he always knew how lucky he was, and I have never forgotten how lucky I am. And he would always say when going to the set, it's magic time. And it is a little bit of magic that you're performing.
It is.
And I really respect that, and I enjoyed his work.
We've had magic time with you.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Very nice.
It's such a feeble line, but it's such a true line. A Life in Parts by Bryan Cranston is published by Orion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve.
If I stop and think about it, which I don't do very often, you know, it's a pretty unusual, been a pretty unusual existence. But it's been my life, and I've enjoyed every minute of it, or almost every minute of it. I don't think any of